Hello, 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 and welcome to or welcome back to A Little Birdie Told You. I am your host, Kristen Knight.
And I'm your host, Kelly Knight.
And today we are going to be discussing our personal icks and red flags.
Okay, y'all, here is the quote for today. We all carry red flags. The only difference is that some of us recognize these in ourselves and work to overcome them, while others don't. By Sonia Savanas.
And I just want to go ahead and point out and clarify that these are our personal red flags and icks before we get started. So if any of these icks or red flags sound something like maybe that you might have, or you might be like, okay, like I might have that ick, or I might like actually be that ick, then it's all right. We're not trying to like actually point out anybody or make you feel like you're like undeserved or anything as such. We're just kind of just saying our own things and kind of going off our own beliefs. And I just want to clarify that because I don't want anyone to feel like, hey, I have that red flag. Because we all have red flags. Yeah. I have a red flag. Kelly's a red flag. And just as that quote pointed out, we have red flags. But the important thing is that we actually point out those red flags and understand, hey, I have this red flag. So we're just going to say our red flags to help you like understand maybe a red flag that we might see as a red flag, or maybe like just give you a better understanding of red flags. All right. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and talk about the definition of an ick and a red flag. What's the definition of an ick for you, Kelly?
I feel like it's something you're like disgusted by or like annoyed by.
I
just
agree.
Like in general.
Yeah, I feel like it's a behavior or like a mannerism someone has. And I feel like it's the way they act or maybe like just something that they do. And we find that really repulsing. We're like, I'm repulsed by that. And I also think it can be a thing too. It doesn't have to be like a person directed towards a person. It can pertain to like a thing or like some sort of like tactic or something someone uses. But I want to like, there's like some really like actually like, I don't know, like crazy like icks out there that people think like are crazy. That I'm like using emojis. Like, how is that an ick?
I honestly don't know. You know, you can overuse them to an extent. I mean, you just gotta kind of watch. But, like, in general, I feel like I don't even know if many people use, like, that many emojis nowadays.
I guess if you're older, I mean, I understand where that's coming from. But I just think I think it's kind of, like, crazy, to be honest. Now, what's a red flag to you? Like, how do you identify a red flag, or what does a red flag mean to you? If someone didn't know what a red flag was.
I feel like something that it's like, I feel like you could fix it to an extent, but I also feel like it's something that like something somebody has in general that's like something that's like annoying a little bit, that's like bothering, that like I feel like they'll carry for the rest of their lives, because I feel like a red flag is just something somebody can't really change, to be honest.
So I think a red flag is kind of something someone has, like something to do with their behavior that people are like, I feel the fear of, like, I have a fear of being vulnerable with you because of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think what's hard about red flags is I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's a red flag, but you don't consider where a red flag comes from. And I think a red flag can come from like past experience. Like if someone has trust issues and you're looking at that like a red flag, yes, it is a red flag. But at the same time, like think about where that's stemming from. It's probably stemming from a past relationship. And we'll discuss more about like how to handle this, but let's go ahead and talk about like our red flags and our icks. We're going to let Kelly get started with this because I'm curious to know what your icks are, Kelly. Let's talk about like your major icks. Like what are some
Okay,
icks?
I feel like definitely in a relationship, I feel like, or just in general, like talking stages, anything like that. I feel like in general, like I like good morning texts, right?
Really?
Like or good night texts, anything like that. But, like, if you're somebody that's going to start, like, saying that and you say GN or GM, like, that's not happening. Like, you do that, you're going to get me really fired up. We'll just put it that way.
Did you hear you're going to get her
like,
fired
seriously,
up?
Like, it's so annoying when people, like, what is the word called?
Like, abbreviate.
Abbreviate something like that. Like, it's just like, okay, do you even mean it? Like, what's the point of even saying it then? Like, if you actually care, spell it out.
Well, it shows, like, a lack of effort.
And especially with me, though, because I'm an overthinker, I'm going to start thinking, like, okay, well, do you even like me? Like, do you even care? Like, I'm just like that.
Well, because they're abbreviating something that's kind of like, you said you like actually like that. Like, she likes that. Like, that's important to her. Me, like, I don't really mind, I guess. I feel like it's not that important to me. Like, that's not the main component. But if it's important to you and they abbreviate it, like, I can understand where you're coming from, because it's like, why abbreviate something that it's supposed to be more meaningful? Why is that important to you, though?
What?
Like, why is it, like, those kind of texts is important to you?
I don't know. I feel like it's just, like, why wouldn't you say that? Because it's, like, if you really like that person, it's, like, something that it's, like, okay, what are you gonna do? Wait like hours in the day and just say hi or something?
Okay, yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
if
feel
you're
like
in a
it's just, like,
relationship, yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're in a relationship with the talking stage, I just feel like, I mean, the talking stage doesn't really matter. I feel like not that much, but like, I feel like, it should be kind of something.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But I just feel like, why wouldn't you say it,
Okay, well, what's another ick that you have?
Another ick would definitely be like if a guy doesn't open a door for you.
Oh, you like gentleman behavior.
I don't know. I feel like it's just in general. I mean, we were growing up. Like, our
Yeah.
dad always opened up doors, but I feel like it's just like in general, I feel like you're not a gentleman if you don't do that. Just because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's just like, okay, what? You want, especially on a date though. That's something that I always look at. Because if you're a guy and you don't open the door for me, that's a no-no right there.
Oh, I
that's
agree,
not going to happen.
100%
Because
with
I'm not
that.
going to date somebody that's just going to let the door slam on me.
And guys might be like, okay, so for the guys watching this, you might be like, wow, that's like a lot of work. They're asking for a lot. Really, it's not. Because it's like, that's like a gentleman behavior right there.
And I feel like a lot of boys, especially boys that have like really big egos, are like, I'm not gonna do that. Well, you know what? Maybe you're not gonna.
And that's the ick right there, having like this humongous ego.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have too high of an ego to say, oh, I'm gonna open the door for her. Like if you have respect for me, you're gonna open the door for me, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna settle for anything less.
In general, if you have a really big ego, I feel like you shouldn't even have a girlfriend because it's like, you can't just calm yourself down a little bit. Like,
usually guys with big egos are insecure.
Exactly.
And I know that because it's like, for us, we know this stuff. Like I feel like it's not that hard to figure out. But like, if you like don't open the door, it's like kind of like, for me, it just symbolizes
even as like a friend though, like a guy that's a friend, like I feel like,
yeah,
like why wouldn't you? Like, were you not raised like that?
It kind of symbolizes like disrespect.
Exactly.
Like I feel like you don't respect
like
me.
It's not even like in a flirty way. It's just like in general. Like, do you even respect women?
Yeah, and you like care. It's showing like this generous behavior. So if you're like opening the door for me, I'm gonna see that as a plus. You know what I'm saying? Compared to like you just being like opening the door and I have to grab it behind you. Like I just feel like it's kind of disrespectful. And I feel like if you're if you're a girl that really appreciates that, then awesome. You don't have to, and I'm not saying that's like a quality you have to acquire, but like I feel like as a guy you should open the door for a girl, and that's just a tip right there for y'all. What's another red flag you have, Kelly?
I don't know if this is like, I feel like it wouldn't be a red flag, but I feel like in general,
or like an ick, sorry.
I feel like it's an ick when like you're like, I don't know, not like when you're in a relationship, but like you see, like, not, I don't even know how to explain this, but in general, like if you're in a relationship, I feel like it's kind of an ick if like you always expect the guy to like pay for a date or something. Like I feel like in general it should be like split up, like 50-50, like okay, this time we went on a date, you paid for it. Like next time we go on a date, I'm gonna pay for it, because I feel like guys are always put in that spot of being like, oh yeah, you have to pay for this, you have to do this, you have to like, you always have, like, you're gonna have to open doors. Like I feel like another thing is like guys always have to make the first move, which I mean, I'm not saying
well, that's
like,
not really an ick. These are more like things that you're saying that like should be like equaled out, I guess.
I know, but I feel like it's just kind of like a red flag.
You think it's a red flag if a girl expects a guy to do everything?
Yeah, I
for
feel
her?
like it is, because it's like, are you using the guy then?
So are we giving red flags to the guys?
What? I'm here for both sides,
Me
okay?
too.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not all here for the girls either. I mean, there's stuff some girls do wrong, and there's some stuff that guys do wrong. But
Well,
like,
some guys might not look at it like that, though.
I know, I'm just saying.
Let's clarify our perspective. I also think when a guy like mansplains, if you know what that means, you know what I'm talking about? Like when he tells you, like, he acts like you don't understand what he's talking about. Like, I'm sure you've dealt with this with basketball, where they're like, oh, this is actually how you throw the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That is a major
here's like
ick.
a really funny story is this one boy was like, oh, you need to like, because I don't know, for some reason they're always like, oh yeah, you use like two hands to throw a basketball. You know what, how about you just shut up? At least I actually can make 3-point shots, okay? So just keep your mouth shut. And I'm like, all right, let me try to throw it how you throw it. So I'm like, okay, and I still made it in. And then the kid's like, I'm like, okay, well, like, now you take a shot. You take a shot. I think he completely airballs it.
Yeah, I find that honestly really unattractive. Like, I get it if you want to teach me something, you know, but like if you're like mansplaining it in a way where you think I can't understand, it's kind of like, it's like, okay.
Did you see that video of like that one kid that had like a really big ego in the gym, and there was this guy that like had to like what was it, like I think it was like 300 pounds or something he was lifting. The guy's like, oh yeah, you're not lifting it right, and then the kid was trying to lift it and couldn't even lift it.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
That is funny. Another one that I have is when guys are like very overbearing and rude. If you're like very overbearing and you're like rude and you're rude in general to people, like you could be really
That's
nice to me.
same thing with girls though too.
Yeah, and you're really nice to me, and then we go in public, and I notice like if we go out to eat and you talk to the waiter or waitress or anywhere we go, like even if we're in a store and you talk to like, you know, like the shopping clerks and stuff, like very rudely, and I'm like, that's really unattractive because you might think like, oh, it's not gonna bother them because I'm being nice to them. No, it's actually gonna make me think like, wow, that's how you act to people in general. Like that's very unattractive. And another one pertaining to that is like how you treat like your family or the people that you would claim you care about. Okay, so the people you care about. And if you treat the people you care about, like if you like or have this like tendency to be like really mean towards them or rude, like I'm going to look at that as like, okay, this in the long term is going to like affect our relationship because maybe you're being nice to me and putting on a facade and being caring and generous. And then all of a sudden you're going to have a flip switch or something. And it's going to like, you're going to be rude to me. Another thing, I'll let you share some icks, but I want to say this one is I think a lot of guys do not think this is an ick. But for me, it is like if you don't take like, okay, you don't have to take, okay, I don't want to be like, this is a personal ick. But if you don't take like your education seriously or like you are going
to like smarty pants.
No, like say you are going to school, okay? If you're not going to school, this doesn't pertain to you. But say you're going to school or you have like you're working, okay? And you have a job and you don't put like your full effort into it. You don't try your best. And you're like kind of slacking and you're always slacking. So say you like try, like you do school, but like it's not like you're like, I don't really care how I do in it. Or like, you know, I don't really care like my results or anything like that. And same thing with work. Like, oh, I do the minimum possible. Like that shows me that you're going to do the minimum possible in a relationship. Because I'm looking at that as like, I'm perceiving that as like you only do like what is like kind of like, you know, like asked of, but like you don't actually like put effort in. So it's kind of like, that's what it's showing me. And I think a lot of guys have to understand that when we're looking at icks, we're like, okay, so you're doing this, but this is going to reflect back into our relationship. Always remember that, even if a girl does that, for the guys that are listening, because like if you like don't put effort into yourself, like even with their like not like their outwardly appearance, like I don't want to be like, oh, outwardly appearance matter, but like clothing wise and like shoe wise, like for me, dirty shoes are a huge ick because I look at it as like if you don't keep everything clean and you're not taking care of things, like are you going to value our relationship and take care of our relationship? And that's honestly really important if you're planning on getting in a relationship with someone or considering that. You know what I'm saying? Do you have any more red flags or icks, Kelly?
I don't know if this would be an ick or a red flag. I feel like maybe it would be a red flag.
Okay.
I feel like a red flag would be like in general if you're talking to somebody, like I'm being in like talking stage or like you're in a relationship with somebody and like they left you and delivered for like 3 hours and they were active like recently. Like that's kind of crazy. Like that's a red flag. Like I'm just saying like if you want a break, just say you need a break. But like in general, like if you're gonna like just leave somebody and deliver that long and then be active is like so stupid.
So lack of communication.
Yeah.
Lack of communication is definitely a red flag. I wouldn't consider that even an ick because if you can't communicate to me, then that's telling me like there's going to be like kind of there's going to be a lack of communication in the relationship. So if you can't communicate to me when you're like upset by something that I do or like I can't communicate to you when I'm upset about something, and that's going to kind of tell me like, okay, there's a lack of communication here. Communication is a pillar in a relationship as well. Not only is trust, but communication is as well. So when you can't communicate, like say you're in an argument and that person can't communicate to you and tell you like, hey, this is the way I feel about this, or they want a break and they're just like, yeah, I need like the day like to just kind of like refuel and not really like deal with this, like that's you're not communicating. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, it's going to make you like feel like, hey, like this person's ignoring me. This is going on. And it's going to like, as an overthinker, I'm not an overthinker when pertaining to this stuff, but I know people who are, including Kelly, and that kind of stuff can trigger like past experiences or just experiences like why are they acting like this?
And something that I will say with like overthinking though, if like I start getting like a bunch of red flags in a guy, I honestly just kind of give up on the person. Like no matter how much I like them, I'm just like no, because to be honest, I think it just like stresses me out and like starts like causing like not like negative like aspects of my life, but just causes me to like, you know, I don't like it. It's just like
feel undeserved.
Exactly.
Another one is manipulation. If you're going to use manipulative tactics on me, I'm going to notice that right away. And I'm not going to put up with that because in the long term, you're going to manipulate me into things that I don't want to do. And that includes like pressure. If a guy is constantly like pressuring you to do stuff, especially stuff that you've like clarified, I do not want to do this, or like you're like, they're constantly putting the pressure on you to do things for them and they're being clingy. That's like very overwhelming, especially for a girl.
Like no matter, like this is for a girl or guy, if you're not like wanting to do something that they're saying like they want you to do, like do not like like, oh yeah, just be like, okay, fine, I'll just do it. Like, if you're not comfortable with that, you do not have to do it. Like,
yeah, if someone's trying to pressure you into something, when someone really cares about you, they are not going to put the pressure on
like
you.
if you say you don't feel comfortable doing that, if somebody really likes you, they're gonna be like, okay, that's fine. Like, and they're never gonna probably
Yeah, they're
ask
not
you
going to
again.
put the pressure on you.
Exactly.
They're going to respect your boundaries. And that's something you always have to set is fine boundaries between what you want and what you don't want. And if someone doesn't respect those boundaries, they're not even worth like bringing into your life because in the long haul, they're going to like disrespect you in various ways. Another one is for me, a big ick is when you're immature. Like, I think immaturity, and that can stem from a lot of places. And I don't mean like people are going to be like, okay, what do you mean by immature? I don't mean like being silly and stuff. You know what I mean? Like being silly and funny, that's not immature. That's a personality. So if you're silly, like, I get it. But like
me.
yeah, if you're silly and you like to laugh, like there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I probably would like that even more. I'll probably find that really attractive if you know how to laugh because there's a lot of people out here that are really like down and they're pessimistic. But if you're immature in aspects like you don't like you like okay like Kelly was telling what were you saying that was really immature like when guys like get disgusted by feminine like things?
Yeah, like I feel like if they get disgusted by like periods or just anything in general, like I don't know, boys sometimes just get like really like weird about like any type of feminine thing at all. Like I just feel like it's just like in general, the way I look at it is like one day you're going to be married and you're going to have to deal with that stuff or you're going to be with your girlfriend or something and something might happen and you might have to deal with it, okay? And to be honest, if you're going to be that immature about it, you shouldn't even have a girlfriend. Like that's the way I look at it. If you're not mature enough to actually handle those things and you're going to like laugh about it or just like assume it's funny or make fun of a girl for it, just walk out the door,
Yeah.
honey. Like it's no.
Well, it's immature.
Like,
Because-
are we making fun of you for anything?
No,
like,
we
no.
don't make fun, I don't make fun of anyone.
Like,
for
it's
anything.
like,
and it's just kind of disrespectful.
and what I feel like something that's like kind of like annoying though is I feel like boys don't understand. Like, when you laugh at that stuff, I feel like girls are already uncomfortable as it is about that stuff in general. So if you're a boy and you have a girlfriend and, you know, maybe an accident happens, do not be immature about it. Just like handle it maturely because if you don't, you're probably not gonna have a girlfriend.
Like I understand, like you guys might not understand it, and it might be like you might find it disgusting, and you might be repulsed by it, but like try your best not to kind of like reveal that.
Yeah.
Because it is
like
very
even if you are, just like kind of keep that to yourself.
because let me be honest with you, what's gonna happen is when a girl like is going through that, that's something that's kind of private. And if she like actually you're gonna make her feel very uncomfortable when you make fun of her or if you actually like are like disgusted by that and you show it. You could be disgusted by it, but don't tell her that. I mean you shouldn't be immature about it because then she's gonna like lose this comfort in you and she's gonna be like, yeah, I'm not comfortable sharing things with you anymore. And being comfortable with somebody, that's important. If you're not comfortable with me, that's kind of an ick because I want you to feel comfortable with me. And if you're not comfortable with me, then I'm probably not compatible with you. You know what I'm saying? I find this ick, like this is an ick for me, is like when a guy spends money on something like, you know, I would say like unnecessary, like irrelevant to what he needs because I look at things as needs and wants. If you're saving money for something, but it's like, I don't like, you know, when you go to a store and like all of a sudden someone's like, oh, I'm just going to buy this for the heck of it for like fun. Like, why are you going to do that? Especially at our age. I mean, I guess at everyone else's age, it's different. But if you're working and you're trying to save money, like like for college, when you're in college, like me, you're trying to save money. Like Kelly, you're in high school. Kids in high school typically are trying to save money for vehicles or they're trying to save money for college if that's what they plan on pursuing. So for me, like when you're spending money, it just kind of shows you're not like, it's kind of like immature in my eyes. And I kind of view it as like irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of an ick when you're irresponsible and careless and reckless. Like really take that in consideration, especially if you're going to get in a relationship with somebody. Other people might not mind this. They might not care. Like Kelly's got a problem with spending money, right? I'm just teasing.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what I mean? Like don't always go out and buy stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people are like they're like, oh, like if you want to give somebody something, this is a tip right here. This isn't even an ick. But if you want to say you like, okay, I want to get my girlfriend a gift. If you're a guy or you're a girl and you want to give your boyfriend a gift, I feel like this is more directed at guys though. I don't really know. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
Like us as girls, for me and Kelly at least, I don't know if this is the same for other girls, but like it's the thought that counts. Like you could give me something so simple, like as such as like writing a letter, and I would find that and you like actually like put like a considerable amount of time into it, and I would value that. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to buy me something. I actually rather have something more personal. I feel like it's an ick though
if you like get like your like significant other something. And then they're kind of just like, okay, and like they don't even appreciate what you got them. You know, like it's the thought that counts. It really doesn't matter how much money you put into it. Like, you know, as long as like, you know, like you should like whatever like your other person gets, you know?
Yeah, you
Because
should
it's just like
value it.
it's wrong. It's mean too.
Well, if you value that person, you're gonna
Exactly.
value what they give you.
Like if you really like that person, you're gonna be like anything they give you, you're gonna like really value it.
Yeah, I would at least. I know.
Yeah.
And I think another ick is definitely bad hygiene. I know we kind of just talked about this, bad hygiene. I'm like somebody, it's like for me, bad hygiene would be like not brushing your teeth, not combing your hair.
I feel like I don't know, like if you're somebody like I don't know, I feel like some guys like I've had this problem. Like at the actually to be honest, I'm kind of lucky because I was always scared when I went down to the basketball court that guys were always gonna kind of like, you know, smell. Because I was like, there would be a couple boys that would like kind of smell really bad, and I was kind of like, but you know, thank God I had like, you know, I had that girly perfume on me, so I would just spray it all over me, and then they would just stay away.
That's funny. She's like,
But in general, I never really.
He's like, I'm trying to keep them all away from me.
But in general, no, I think it actually brought them closer to me.
Oh.
But in general, like I feel like guys, like I don't know, I feel like some guys don't like wearing cologne, but like in general, that's a plus. But me and Kristen were talking about this the other day. Was like, Kristen's like, what do you do if you're dating somebody and like their cologne smells like really bad? And I was like, to be honest, I feel like if you're in a relationship and, you know, the guy like, or the girl has like really bad, like, you know, perfume or cologne, I feel like naturally, or if it's really strong, I feel like you naturally just start getting used to it if you're around them. But
she was trying to tell me that you adapt to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense because I feel like science has already proven that like we like adapt to these things, like adapt to smells if we're like constantly like around them and they're in our environment. But then I was like, yeah, but I was like, hypothetically, this was just a hypothetical question, okay? Like I wasn't like sitting there like someone's cologne smelled, but like I was like, okay, I'm like, but what do you do? And she's like, be straightforward with them. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that's an ick right there. When you're not straightforward with me, like that's an ick. Like be straightforward.
like if I have really bad perfume, just tell me.
Yeah, just say it. Or
I mean, most likely I don't. I always smell good, but like, you know.
But like be straightforward. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Cause I'm like, I would try to see if I could handle it. But if it like I came to a point where I was like, yeah, I can't do this, I would just be like, you know what, I'm gonna recommend you this one because I don't like this one. No, I'm nice. I'm just playing. I would probably just actually be straight up and say, you know what, like I'm not trying to control you. I don't know. I feel
And now
like
that
that's
we're
mean,
kind of on
though.
hygiene, I will say like another ick is definitely like if a guy's gonna like make a big deal out of like if you're a girl and you wear makeup and a guy's telling you can't, that's like a no right there. That's like a red flag. If they're like trying
That's
to
a
control
red
the
flag.
things you do. If you like doing oh my gosh, I was gonna say what? Okay, makeup. It's like if a guy's telling you cannot wear makeup, or even if you're a guy, whatever, you know, if you're somebody that likes to wear makeup and
We're giving a girl's perspective though. Let's give a girl's
you know,
perspective.
if you're a girl and a guy's saying like, oh, you should just stop wearing makeup, like you look prettier with that, like, but you like doing it, like that's something you should keep doing, you know?
Yeah.
But like I just think it's annoying, like it's an ick when guys
It is
say
a
that.
red flag. If anyone, whether you are a guy or a girl, if they are trying to change you, that is a red flag and do not listen to them.
Yeah.
Because they are not compatible with you. Always keep that in mind.
Like I've always said that. Like I'm like, if you have to change yourself for somebody to get in a relationship, then that's not the right person.
No,
for
it's
you.
not. Because you shouldn't have to change anything about yourself at all for that person. You know what I'm saying? Like you shouldn't have to change anything you do. So if someone's expecting you to do that, like, oh, you should change this, like that's a red flag. I'm not changing myself. And do not ever let anyone persuade you into that. You know what I'm saying? Because if someone has like some of these guys have this very like manipulative like tactic, and they have this like this charisma where they know exactly what to say and how to say it. So do not be fooled by words, because guys know, I feel like guys know this, and I'm calling them out right now, but like I know at least when you say something, I'm not gonna 100% believe it. Because what I'm going to be honest with you is like I've realized this, and I think girls it takes the time to realize this, but like girls like words, guys like more like they look more visually. So I don't know if I'm not gonna like say like they're like, oh, we don't do that. I don't know, but like from what I've experienced, it seems like girls they know they like to hear certain things. So a guy knows like if he says certain things, like it could probably like, you know, persuade a girl into things, and it's like that's a no right there for me. Like I'm not gonna believe every little thing you say, and you shouldn't have to like as a girl you shouldn't have to sit there and be like, yeah, I have to like completely like depend on all of this. A guy's gonna if he like it's an ick if you're constantly complimenting my outward appearance. Like if you're always like complimenting
like if
me.
you're saying it like okay, like I don't mind you saying it like maybe like 2 times a day or something like that. Or like, like a couple times a day if I like actually look nice. But if you're somebody that's like going to say it like every sentence possible, that's like, I mean, I've known somebody like that, and that was like a lot.
It's overwhelming, but it also makes it seem like you're only interested in that. And it kind of like makes us lose interest when you're constantly like saying that. When you say it once in a while and it seems more like special, it's different. Now, like, I think a good like advice for guys is like compliment something that's like kind of like unique about us. You know what I'm saying? Like compliment like our laugh. Like, I mean, eyes are a nice one sometimes, I feel like, for people. Like compliment, like if you notice a girl did something with her hair that she's never done before, compliment something like that. Like don't always say like oh, she's so
Be
beautiful.
more like creative. Like some of these guys always say the same things. It's like,
yeah, or like compliment like her outfit for the day, or compliment something like about her personality. Like I love your like sense of humor. I love your laugh. I think I just said that. But like compliment something like that, or compliment like her like confidence or something, because you don't realize. And I feel like guys don't get enough compliments, and I kind of honestly feel bad because I know us girls get like more compliments than guys, and I've heard guys even say like we don't get compliments. So like I feel like girls, if you're watching this, like try to compliment guys. Like you shouldn't depend on compliments, but compliments are nice to receive sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nice to receive a compliment, but if it's an ick if a guy's constantly complimenting your physical appearance, in my opinion. Like if you're constantly going to tell me what I look like physically and complimenting, it's kind of like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like what about my personality? What about this? You know what I'm saying? It's just an ick for me. And another thing is when a guy constantly love bombs. That's a red flag. That's not even an ick. When he love bombs
like hot
you,
and cold.
yeah, that's like hot and cold. Like all of a sudden you notice a guy will like go cold on you, and then like the next day he'll like love bomb you and give you all this affection. And in my opinion, when a guy does that, it tells me that he did something and he's trying to make up for what he did because he feels guilty. Like all of a sudden it's kind of odd to me. Now, like if he like says certain things, but like I don't know, when he love bombs you and stuff, that's a red flag for me. I don't really like that.
And then just like pulls away.
And then he pulls away. It's like, okay, well, what's going on here? You know what I mean? It's kind of questionable, in my opinion. Some people might be like, oh, it's fine with me. No, it's questionable behavior. It's questionable behavior. Okay, what's another red flag you have, Kelly?
Well, it's like an ick. I feel like it's like an ick if like somebody's gonna like, I wouldn't say make fun of you, but like just in general, if they're gonna like, I don't know, like, I guess just like kind of make fun of you for like acne or something. Like if you actually like somebody, you're gonna like them for your personality, you know? Like I feel like that doesn't matter. Like I feel like it's just hormones and stuff, and just everybody's gonna have it at one point in your life. And I feel like I give respect to those people out there that like actually like they don't have to cover it or anything. Like they naturally just like that's yourself. Like everybody's pretty, but like it's just like I guess it's just annoying. Like it's like, are you that immature? Like, are you going to be like that? Like, I know friends that are like that, and it's, like, nerve-wracking, to be honest.
Well, because someone's trying to be themselves, and you're, like, kind of, like, making them feel undeserved.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's, like, don't sit there and make fun of people. I feel like that's an ick in general if someone's going to make fun of you. Let's talk about some red flags now, like, deep things that are red flags. Like we said, the hot and cold, that's a red flag. Manipulation. Now, verbal and physical and mental abuse, that is a like huge red flag. That's probably the most massive red flag I have. Always take in consideration when you're like starting to talk to somebody, and if you notice these little icks, remember how it's going to be in the future, especially because we tend to like...
I feel like that's what the talking stage is for, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like naturally it's sometimes a little hard because you can tell like sometimes somebody is like one way when they're in the talking stage, and then all of a sudden the second you get into a relationship with them, they do like a whole 360, and you're like, whoa, what the heck is this? Because that's not the person I met first. And then sometimes they're like all sweet to you or whatever, like when you're in the talking stage, and then finally when they get you, they're like, yeah, I'm done. I was just like putting effort in because I wanted you.
See, the way we perceive it, like me and you at least, we go in with it authentically. Yeah. And if you don't like us for us, then that's perfect with you. Like if you don't like Kelly for her, she's not gonna sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like cry about this. Like she's presenting herself as she is, and I think that's the best way to go about anything. But some guys are like very verbally abusive. And like I said, we tend to highlight these positive attributes over the negative attributes. So say a guy like love bombs you and gives you all this affection and attention, and then all of a sudden he's very verbally abusive. Like that's gonna affect you in the long haul. So take that in consideration. Don't highlight the positive ones over the negative ones because you have a fear of like encountering these negative attributes, because it is gonna affect you in the long haul. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you have when you're like talking to a guy and all like you're like, I have this like fear that he's like talking to other people. Yeah, I wouldn't even pursue that anymore. even if it's like, I mean, I guess if it stems from past experiences, give the guy a chance or give the girl a chance, but like you also have to take in consideration like the long haul of that. How is that going to affect you?
I feel like another like red flag is like, I don't know if it would be a red flag. I feel like if somebody's gonna make such a big deal if you're friends with like guys or girls, like I feel like in general, I don't care if you're friends with girls. It's just like, it's your intentions. Like, are you just friends? Like, is that the way, like, like as long as your intentions are you're just friends and nothing more, then that's fine.
Like you have to have trust.
Exactly. Because like, I have a good amount of guy friends, but they're just friends. Like, I feel like people don't believe me half the time when I say that because other girls, like, whatever, like, past experience relationships, like, like, say, oh, yeah, they're just friends when really they're not.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you can't trust me, then, okay, just walk out the door. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Always let
like you're not the right person then.
Yeah, if someone wants to leave you, let them. Do not even hesitate and do not say, "Oh, like don't leave me." Just let them go because someone more compatible will come around and you don't want to sit there and waste your energy on someone that doesn't want to be there in the first place. That's the way I look at it in my opinion. And another red flag is definitely cuz you said you were like, "What did you just say?" You said something and I was like, "Oh, that's a red flag right there." I don't remember what you said. Okay, after you said that. Okay, you know what? Never mind. It's fine. Like I said, the verbal abuse, that's something if a guy's making, like, not like Kelly said, making fun of you, but if he's, like, calling you names, like, I get it, there's the point.
Okay, somebody once started calling me the B word.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
We're not going to be putting names!
I forgot. Oh, yeah,
I don't know, that was, like, an instant no.
Yeah, if a guy calls you
I don't know,
names,
you start calling me all that stuff,
that
no.
even leads me further. Do not call a girl. If you're interested in her and you,
Do
like,
not
see
call
her more
her
than
dude.
a friend,
or bro or like anything like that, that's a no.
Like if you see her like more than a friend and you want her to see you like that, or you guys are talking,
like,
or you are dating.
Sometimes I guess it's an accident or whatever.
I do not like the dude in the bro card. No, like the bro card. If you're gonna call me bro, I'm like, I'm not your bro. What the heck are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Or I guess use that like slang a little bit,
that
like
slang,
saying like what's up,
what's
or like
up?
Or if you're gonna say what's up, you better add something like
like
a little name or something to it because that's
like
just
that.
wrong.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like you can't be like, I feel like guys sometimes get a little too friendly, and I feel like it's like.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know, like just in general, like if you call me bro or something, that's mean.
I don't know. I don't know if I like that too much. Like if we're just friends, it's different.
Yeah.
But like it's an ick a little bit if you're gonna call me bro when we're like talking, or like you're interested in me and you're gonna call me a bro. Like, why are you calling me that? Unless I know we're bros, but like I don't know about that. Like, how would you feel? Okay, think of it this way: if you're a guy and you're listening right now, how would you feel if we came up to you and you're interested?
What's up, homie?
No. If you're interested in us and we come up to you and we're like, "What's up, girl? How you doing?"
Oh my god, bro!
You know what I'm saying?
I'm doing that to somebody. That would be so funny.
Like, if we're interested in you, I'm not gonna call you a girl because I see you as a guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go up to a guy and be like, "What's up, girlie?" Because that means I look at you as a girl. Like, how would you feel? So take that in consideration next time you call a girl a bro or like a dude and you're interested in her. If you're not, then like I guess if you're not interested in a girl and you want her to kind of know that, like say bro or dude, so she kind of knows. Because I feel like when a guy says that, like it's kind of an automatic, like you see me as a dude, you see me as a bro, right? And they're like, now I'm gonna if I'm not interested in you, I'm gonna come up to you like, "What's up, girlie?" We don't even say that.
I'm naturally, I just say bro. Like I'm just like that.
Yeah, but you don't
like,
say that to guys you
not
like.
to people I like, but like in general to like friends, I just say it.
Oh my. Okay, what's another ick that we've got? Let's oh, this is an ick. It's an ick.
What's an ick?
when you don't like trust me, that's an ick. I feel like that's more of a red flag because it's showing me when you have a lack of trust, it's kind of like okay, like the relationship, why am I with you if you don't trust me? Mm-hmm. So if there's some sort of like apprehension there where you're like, I don't trust you, and there's just something going on there, I feel like it's probably best that we're not compatible. So it's probably best. I mean, I know people are going to be like, okay, well,
I feel like
experience.
If it's kind of a red flag if you're in a relationship and you're always the one wanting to make plans and like you're like whatever, like, and like whoever you're with never like asks or you like, I feel like just in general, I feel like that's something with me though, because I'm an overthinker. I'm just like, okay, am I being clingy now at this point? Because I feel like, I don't know if that's just guys in general. They just assume that the girl needs to make plans. Like it should be both equal.
Yeah. It should be. Because if
Like,
you're always making the effort and they're not making like any like conscious effort either, it's kind of like, why am I putting effort into this? Okay, so now that we've kind of identified our red flags and our icks, I don't really think there's any more we can add on. I don't know if there's any like at the top of my head right now. But I want to say what to do if you find yourself in a situation when you're with someone or you're talking to someone and you like identify a red flag or like an ick. So my honest advice is honesty is the best policy. And I know people are going to be like, what do you mean by that? Be honest with them. If you notice a red flag or an ick, be honest with the person. If you actually genuinely like them, just be honest. Just say straight up, hey, like if they have like some sort of trust issues or something, like be honest that you've kind of like identified that. And I would just be honest with the person. I talk about it. I would communicate. So use those communication skills that we were talking about and kind of say like, hey, like I noticed this. And if you've like talked about the problem with them and they continuously keep like doing the same thing, like you can either stay, and I don't know if I recommend that because think about the long haul and you might find someone that actually doesn't have that issue, then it's probably best you leave because I think that it's not good to put up with a red flag or an ick. Like icks are different, okay? Because icks are something. You have an ick?
Yeah.
What's another ick?
If you don't wash your hands before you eat.
Oh, yeah.
Or like if you chew with your mouth open.
These aren't really relationship icks.
I know, just in general icks though.
Like, I'm very cleanly. Oh, a messy room. Do not have a messy room. I'm just going to rapid fire some. Do not have a messy room. Like I watch how someone talks to their siblings too, or like their parents or people they care about in general. I think I already said this, but like I watch how you like talk to the people you care about, even your friends, because like that's important to me that you like talk to them with care. What's another one? Let's throw in some fire rapid ones. Like, I like when people are clean, I guess. Like, we already talked about good hygiene and stuff. Having respect for someone.
If your car's not clean.
If your car's not clean. Like, if you tell us to get in, then all of a sudden there's, like, McDonald's stuff on the floor. And you're like, oh, don't mind that. I'm like, what the heck?
Hey, you want some, like, old Chick-fil-A?
No, I don't want that. I'm sorry. Like, I get it when you have a busy week and there's circumstances that prevent you from getting to things.
I feel like to an extent, if you don't know how to cook or clean.
Oof.
I don't know. I mean, I'm somebody that
I don't expect you to make some like you don't have
I'm
to be
just saying in general, if you don't even know how to make ramen noodles, like
oof, I would hope you know how to make a little bit more than that. Oh, this one's a personal ick. This one's a personal ick for me. I like someone who eats like a healthy, balanced diet.
Well, we know.
Like, do not sit there and be like telling me like every minute.
You guys are interested
pizza.
In her. Make sure you start eating organic because she's gonna make
no. I'm not saying that. I don't expect that, but like I think that it's important that you like. It is a red flag.
Me, I don't care. I just eat whatever.
I know you don't care. She likes balanced diets though, but like I don't know. Kelly's a little bit crazy. I think that's another thing.
You're making it seem like I eat grass.
This is another one. If they talk bad about their ex, I'm going to tell you this right now because this is a red flag. If they talk bad about their ex to you, if they talk about their ex a bunch, that's a red flag in itself because it's telling me they're not over them. But if they talk bad about their ex, like say, for example, someone's like, yeah, my ex, he was like this, and he was really like controlling.
If you always constantly bring up your ex, it's kind of like an ick, to be honest.
But if you're bringing them up, like I get it. Maybe they weren't the best person.
Obviously, you're not over them then.
If they weren't the best person, I get it. But keep that to yourself. Because if you meet someone and they're like talking really bad about their ex, just keep in mind they're going to talk really bad about you then. Just keep that in mind. Like I said, these small, simple behaviors in the present are going to impact the future.
Another one I want to say before I forget is like for instincts, guys with a girl or like a girl's with a guy and they drop that person for you. Remember, they drop that person for you. They're going to drop you for somebody else.
Yes. Remember that. Take that in consideration, those little actions. Another one, I hate this one. This is a big personal one for me. Oversharing the relationship on social media. Do not overshare a relationship on social media.
I just feel like it needs to just like, I don't know. I feel like I've learned I like to keep my relationship stuff kind of private now. Just because I feel like friends get involved. And I feel like in general, if there's like a guy that has like a friend that's a girl, I feel like even the same thing, same switcheroo, whatever. Like switcheroo. Like if a girl has like a close guy friend, it's not that they like you more than a friend. It's just the fact that like if you get like in a relationship with somebody, they're going to start getting jealous because your attention's not all on them. So they're going to start giving you advice and bad advice, to be honest. So like be like, oh, I think that's kind of wrong. Like she or he does that. Like, I think you should just break up or something. Really like you shouldn't even, to be honest, be telling anybody any of your stuff. Like you know, I just feel like in general, it should be just like about you. Like it's not like you're dating that person too. Like it's not like
Exactly.
a freaking like.
Well, I just think it's kind of annoying when you go like don't go get advice from people, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest.
Like, exactly. If you're going to get your girlfriend or boyfriend something, like don't go asking your friends. Like if you know your boyfriend or girlfriend, like you know what to get them then.
Yeah, and it's like be your authentic self. Like I don't want like for example, if your friend gives you advice on something, that's like they're like it's almost as if it's kind of comparative to the friend just doing it for you. And it's like why do that? Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Someone's going to like you for you. Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? But this is another one. That's like what Kelli said, oversharing with your friends. Do not overshare the relationship with your friends. Like I find that to be a big ick because I don't like when you share like
nowadays though, I feel like you should just keep everything private in your relationship.
Especially on social media.
Because like I've even learned like it's just like, to be honest, people get involved, people get jealous, and it's just like it's bad.
Like a lot of your friends that you think
even
are
if
your
you
friends,
think if you even think they're real friends, to be honest, it doesn't matter how like I sounded like I had an accent right there. What was that?
Country accent.
But I just think, to be honest, like no matter how real you think they are, it doesn't matter. It's out of jealousy that if you're in a happy relationship and you're happy, they're just going to try to ruin it for you.
That's another ick is jealousy. If you're constantly jealous over like people I'm around or something, like it's okay to be jealous to a healthy extent. Like obviously I would expect you to be jealous in certain circumstances. Like that's just kind of like a common human response when we like someone or attracted by somebody. But like don't be jealous as in like if I do something that you didn't like, instead of being like mature and communicating, you decide, oh, I'm going to threaten you with this, or I'm going to be manipulative and I'm going to stop talking to you for a day because you did something. Like that's immature. Let's be honest.
Mom.
Yeah. Like that's immature. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is this more for me is a red flag than an ick. But if you're not supportive of like my endeavors, if you're not supportive and you're like telling me like you don't want to support what I'm doing, and you don't have to like approve of it, I guess. I'm not gonna ask for your approval, but like if you don't support me and support what I want to do,
I'm looking like a short little troll over here.
But like the oversharing one, that's a big one, because like Kelli said, people get jealous, and when people notice you're in a happy relationship and they're unhappy, they would do anything they can to like, I guess, like destroy that relationship. So your friends might be like, oh, I heard that so-and-so said this, and really I didn't say anything like that, so just communicate with me. You know what I'm saying?
Like, to be honest, if you hear something from somebody else and you're
communicate with your person,
like straight up, if somebody's like, oh yeah, like I saw your boyfriend or like your girlfriend talking to like another person, like, okay, don't just like be like, oh, I'm gonna break up with like her or him. Like, to be honest, you should probably go talk about it, because to be honest, what people don't understand is other people get jealous and they're gonna try to like start making up stuff because they don't want to see you guys happy.
Another one I have is when a guy's very cocky and arrogant. Like if he's very arrogant and stuck up and only talks about himself, that's an ick. Like that's a major ick right there, because it's like it's a relationship with both of us involved. Don't be like arrogant. You know what I'm saying? But like when people are arrogant. This one's another one. This is a personal one, and then I'm going to talk about. Then we're just going to say like what you should do again if you're in the situation is when that's a bug. When a guy doesn't believe in some sort of higher power or God, like for me, that's something that's important, because like that's something that comes first.
I feel like for me, I feel like it's just like, sure, I want you to believe in God. I'm not saying you have to go to church, but also I feel like to an extent that's up to you. Just because I believe in God does not mean you need to like believe in all that and be like, oh gosh, she's gonna expect me to like go to church or like start reading the Bible. I don't know, like anything like that. That's up to you. That's your beliefs. That's like nothing, like I'm not over here like gonna control you or like judge you. You know, I'm not very like, I'm not judging. I'm not judgy at all. Like, you know, I don't care like at all like about like anything that's like what you want to do. Like as long as like you're happy with that, then that's up to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just want someone to kind of have like some sort of belief, like some sort of foundation where they believe
of like
in
a higher
something.
power.
You know what I'm saying? Because
like,
I believe that it's important to that. Like I find it an ick if you don't have goals, if you don't have aspirations, and you have nothing going on for yourself, as in like goals. Like you need to have something that you're trying to achieve in your life. Like don't tell me like that's an ick right there. If you're lazy, like that's more of a red flag. Like if you have nothing going on and you're like really lazy, like that's a no. That's a no for me, because you have to have something going on. You got to have something, like some sort of like hobbies, and like, we said that at the same time. You got to have hobbies. You've got to like have respect for yourself and like pursue something. Like if you love to work out, like That's what I'm talking about. Like, you have goals and aspirations for that. If you have a job, you're working towards something, you're trying to save money. If you're going to school, you don't have to go to school, but have something where you can tell me, like,
You
I'm
need to
working
go to
towards
school.
this.
Kids, go to school.
No, yeah, go to school. I mean, like, furthering your education in college. You know what I mean? Like,
You're gonna
not
make
that's
kids
not
like be like, no.
No.
Kristen and Kelli said don't go to
Well,
school.
I'm in college talking about this, so some people aren't, pursuing that. But, like, I mean, as, like, find something to pursue. I want to make sure you're passionate about something. Like, I don't want you to tell me, like, you do nothing. Like, that's no. That's a no for me right there. Okay, so I think we've covered all of our red flags and icks. And you're talking to some people that are very selective. And I don't know. I mean, I guess take it or leave it. Do what you will. I mean, like I said, everyone has red flags. If I pointed out something that you have and you're like, I'm really lazy, you just pointed me out. Like, why'd you do that? I'm sorry. You'll find somebody. Keep that in mind. Maybe that's my red flag, but you're gonna find somebody that maybe, like, I guess, likes that. You know what I'm saying? Just because I say I don't like it, don't look for me to validate you and reassure you. But like I said, if you come in contact or encounter somebody with red flags, be honest with them. Do you have any other advice for what you should do if you come in contact with somebody with red flags?
I feel like, to be honest, if they don't meet what you want,
your needs,
not meet your needs, or like just in general, you have to change yourself for them. You should not be changing yourself. Like, if you don't have the same things, like if they're very clingy and you don't like clinginess, then just like, that's not the right person for you then. Like, don't be over here like trying to change yourself because you like them that much. Like, if you really like somebody and you have to change yourself, I'm sorry, but to be honest, it's probably not the right person for you.
Yeah, and I'm speaking like, you want to come to an understanding with somebody. Like, if you communicate to them, you want to come to a level of understanding. Like, say, for example, you point out a red flag of trust issues and they say, hey, this is why I have this issue. Come to a level of understanding. Don't just back up and say, yeah, they have this problem, I'm not going to deal with that. Because that kind of is immature. I'm going to be honest. Like, confront them and say, hey, I noticed this. Like, is there something like that I can help with this? Or like, can we like work this out? Come to a level of communication. And I think that's the best way to encounter red flags and icks. If it comes to the point where they keep repeating themselves and they keep acting upon those like red flags and icks, and they know it's an ick for you, then it's probably best you find somebody that like doesn't have those qualities and you understand that. So I think that's the best way to resolve that. But like I said, honesty is the best policy, and be honest.
Be honest.
Because the sooner you're honest, the less it's going to hurt. It might hurt in the moment, but later down the road, they're going to realize it's a good thing they did that. That was beneficial for me. You know what I'm saying?